Hi guys, welcome back to this Money Control live stream. You're watching Opening Bell with me, Nandita Khemka. Well, it's a Tuesday morning. The cues coming out of global markets are fairly mixed, but the GIFT Nifty is hinting at a positive start. Of course, the two-day FOMC meet begins later tonight, so a lot will depend on whether or not the Fed doles out a 25 basis point rate cut or a 50 basis point rate cut tomorrow. So ahead of that, there is expected to be some bit of caution, but we are in the positive zone, and that's good news for us. Of course, we hit a fresh high yesterday. Whether or not we manage to hit another fresh high today and cross that 25,500 mark is something that we'll be watching out for. Lots to watch out for. Of course, all your stock-related queries will also be in focus. So if you have any queries, keep them coming in on our live feed on YouTube. We'll try and get them addressed by our experts on the show. Before we move any further, let's take a look at the top headlines at this hour. Stocks end mixed on Wall Street as the FOMC meet gets underway today. The Dow rises over 0.5% to close at a record high. The S&P 500 also gains while tech-heavy Nasdaq ends with a loss of about 0.5% or thereabouts. Asian markets trade mixed following a mixed handover from Wall Street. The Nikkei is down nearly 1%, but the GIFT Nifty is hinting at a higher start for the Indian market. Crude edges higher with the Brent back near the $73 a barrel mark. Prices rise amid fears of Hurricane Francine hitting production in the Gulf of Mexico. Meanwhile, gold continues to trade near record levels on prospects of a big rate cut by the US Federal Reserve. And Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman responds to the controversy surrounding SEBI Chief Madhabi Puri Butch, says the SEBI Chief and her husband have responded to quite a few questions and those facts must be taken on board. She also says there is nothing wrong in F&O investment, but emphasizes on trusting authentic information. And she remains bullish on growth in the coming quarters. Well, of course, we hit a fresh high yesterday and managed to end the day on a positive note, although we were off the day's high and there was some bit of consolidation that kicked in at record levels. But, on that note, let me get on board our technical expert for today. Joining me is Brijesh who's from IDBI Capital Markets. Brijesh, great to have you on the show. Yesterday we hit a fresh high, but we fell short of that 25,500 mark. In anticipation of a rate cut, do you expect the sentiment to be bullish today as well? And if that is so, do you expect 25,500 to be clocked in today's session? And what is the level that you'll be watching out for on the upside for Nifty?
Morning. Definitely the view is positive, and maybe this week we had the view saying that 25,500, 25,600 will be taken off. Maybe because ahead of the Fed, I think today the structure is positive, and what we are exactly seeing from the technical chart is like from 12th of September there was very good buying, and then for the last two trading sessions there was a sideways consolidation. So we expect that consolidation breakout to be seen in today's session, and definitely I'm pretty confident that 25,500 level can be seen in today's session, and gradually the view technically what we are looking is 25,600. And continuation of that trend should be seen towards 26,000. So somewhere we believe 26,000 is what should be the index should be heading for.
Okay, and what about Nifty Bank? I mean, last week the Nifty Bank index gained somewhere around 3%, and yesterday as well, we saw the positive traction continuing with stocks like ICICI Bank and Axis Bank doing well. So which are the private banks that you'll be watching out for? And on the Nifty Bank index, I think we are well above that 52,200 mark now. So could we make a dash at record levels once again this week itself?
View is positive, but what I can see for the specific for the bank Nifty, it is a slow mover. It is slowly moving up with the overall sectors, but then the pace of the momentum is slightly lower. So, but 51,500 was a very crucial resistance which it has taken on during the last week. So from there, we were talking of another 1,500 points move. So view for the bank Nifty is 53,000 as of now. And maybe with the extension, if there is a further short covering, we can see the new levels in the bank Nifty. HFC Bank, Axis Bank, ICICI Bank, these are the private banks which are IndusInd Bank, the few selected banks which are structurally very strong from the technical point of view. And my understanding is that the bank Nifty will also move, but that momentum will be little slower, but then view certainly remains positive.
Okay, the view on the bank Nifty remains positive. Let's break it down to individual stocks then. Want to talk about Samvardhana Motherson This stock will be in focus given the fact that sources are suggesting that it has launched a QIP to raise somewhere around 6,400 crore rupees. The floor price has been set at almost 189 rupees per share, and the issue price is likely to be somewhere between 186 to 194 rupees per share. Samvardhana Motherson did see some hiccups. You had global clients like BMW revising their guidance lower, but the stock per se has seen a very good run along with other auto ancillaries, right? Over the last 6 months, you can see gains of somewhere around 75% or thereabouts. Do you expect news flow surrounding the company to slam the brakes on the upside that we've seen, or do you think the charts are showing that the trend is intact? What are your thoughts? What are the charts signaling right now?
I think the long-term charts are positive. So for the very long time, for the last 2 months, the stock was consolidating. But I expect that range to be broken out to very soon. On an immediate basis, 198, 200 is the level of resistance. Once we see a very strong close above this level, I think the stock will be positive. Easily 15-20% would be a trading bet. And from the long-term perspective, we have a view of 280 to 300 level on the higher side.
Okay, very quickly as we head into market open, just a few seconds left for the markets to open. What are your thoughts on Spicejet? Because this company, the airline, has also launched a QIP to raise up to 3,000 crore rupees, and the indicative issue price is at 61.6, which is at a good discount to the current rates, which is at around 75 or thereabouts. We also have a query on this particular stock from Raja Pasala. He wants to know what should he do? Should he hold or exit? So, given the fact that the QIP price is less than the current price, what should he do? What would you advise?
No, I think the stock has just started to perform. One should hold on to the view, and in the near term, easily we can see the Spicejet crossing 100 level on the higher side. So view remains positive. I think just the momentum, the stock has started to move. So one should hold the counter.
Okay, one should hold the counter, that's the call. But let's take a look at what the market texture is looking like as we had the opening bell just a few seconds ago. So it is if we start, we are flitting between green and red, very flat start, so to say, under 25,400, just about 3 to 4 odd points lower on the Nifty, but the mid cap index has opened in the green once again. So the outperformance in the broader end of the markets continues. And if you look at the advance decline ratio right at the start, it is firmly in favor of gainers. So it's almost 3:2. That's the NSE advance decline ratio. Look at the advances, 1150 advances to 773 declines. So there is strength in the broader end of the markets as of now. On the benchmark level, we are extremely flat, and let's see what other sectors are doing. Bank Nifty for now is trading in the green, but very marginally so. So just about managing to hold on to the positive zone. But in terms of other sectors, I want to see what metals are doing. Metals are trading with a positive bias. No big moves, but nevertheless, it is in the positive zone. Autos are out of favor today, and so is the IT pack. Pharma also in the red, and so is the PSU banking pack. The realty pack is also in the red, but what's doing well is the FMCG basket, which was under pressure yesterday. 0.3% kind of gains coming in on the Nifty FMCG index. But aside of that, most of the sectors are trading, with the positive bias, but extremely flat. So no real trend emerging at the current juncture. In terms of individual movers, let's see what is dominating the gainers list today. Tata Consumer, that's the top Nifty gainer. Britannia is a close second. Hindustan Unilever is on the gainers list. So FMCG, is appearing to be the flavor right at the start. Let's see whether or not it continues through the day or not. Divi's Lab is the other one that's doing well. Hindalco continues to do well. It was among the top gainers yesterday. Bharti Airtel is the other one that's gaining. Among the private banking, names, Kotak Bank, ICICI Bank and IndusInd Bank, all three are trading in the green. L&T continues to gain, and NTPC, that was among the top gainers yesterday, is doing well, and so is Reliance Industries holding out in the green. But let's see what is not doing well. Well, Tata Motors is dominating the losers list, which is why I think the auto pack is under pressure. That's the top Nifty loser, 2% down. Wipro, HDFC Life, Bajaj Finserv and Bajaj Twins continue to witness selling pressure. Yesterday as well, they were among the top laggards. Remember, Bajaj Housing made a strong debut yesterday, but these two stocks were out of favor. Maruti, TCS, SBI are some of the other losers. But looking at the open, Brijesh, want to check with you, what are your trading picks in such a market?
Yeah, I think today specifically from the morning trade, I think the stocks with IGL, MGL, these are the stocks which are starting to pick up the momentum. I think this should stay strong. So IGL, I believe there will be a positive momentum. One can take the long pledge at the current price. The safer stoppers would be 538 and somewhere close to 680, sorry, 580, 590 should be the trading opportunity for the IGL. And Mahanagar Gas is one stock which we have very strong. We have very strong bias. So this stock is at the verge of giving a range breakout. So one can go long at this 1890 level, and the stop loss would be 1850 for the target of 2000 2050. It was slightly directional call, but then we are confident of this.
Okay, what are your thoughts on the metal pack, particularly Vedanta? Because there has been a water storage breach rather. There has been a water storage breach at one of its alumina unit in Odisha. And the stock is in news today, but it is trading in the positive zone nonetheless. Yesterday metals were doing well. Today as well they are holding out. So on the charts, how is Vedanta poised? Because it has seen a good 4% up move in the last 5 sessions.
I think there was a dividend declaration of 20 points, and the
Yes.
stock fell down. There was a very strong recovery in yesterday, and then after the news, the stock has fell down. So somehow the structure remains positive. 460 is the trigger. So my understanding is that as and when this 460 level is taken, because the derivative data is suggesting a positive bias. So I would go with that. And once we see a close above 460, there could be some good amount of short covering and the breakout from in this particular stock. And the 500 level will be the reasonable upside for the stock. So bias is positive. I don't see much of a downside. There was a slight correction, but then a confirmation will come once we see that 460 level is taken on the higher side. One should stay invested in this particular product.
Okay, stay invested in Vedanta. If anybody had a query on this stock, can take note of this answer. But let's talk about some of the viewer queries that are trickling in this morning. Shatabdi Ghosh has a query on Inox Wind. She wants to know the right entry point for the stock. The stock has been fairly sideways in the last 5 sessions. 240 is where it's at right now, not very far from 52-week highs. Would you advise her to wait it out a bit before entering, or do you think 240 levels or 242 levels are okay for an entry point?
It will be difficult to say how exactly it will be. So, but I think one can take the long trade at the current price as the momentum is very strong positive, and 260, 265 can be the continuation of this trend for the Inox Wind. So one should stay invested in this.
Okay, stay invested. But if one has to make a fresh entry, what should they do? Because that's what she wants to know.
220, 225 is the base area from where the stock has started to move.
Okay.
So I think if we see any, so that would be the level if somebody wants to make a fresh entry.
All right, that's the view then. But before we move and talk about other queries, what are your thoughts on Bajaj Finance? Continues to be under pressure. What is the kind of stop loss one should keep here for Bajaj Finance?
See, I think after the yesterday's event, I believe the Bajaj Finance moved only because of the IPO thing, and after the event, the stock is now correcting. I believe whoever is having a positioner should take should do the profit booking in the Bajaj Finance. I expect it to come somewhere close to 7,000 mark. So it will settle when it comes to 7,000. So if any bounce 7,400, 7,500, if we see those levels, I think one should do the profit booking. Whoever taken this position closer to 6,500, 6,600 level, because there are many people, many retail clients have taken positions because for the IPO gains, and since the IPO is there, many people have taken positions in Bajaj Finance also. Bajaj Finance will see resistance 7,500 mark, so profit booking is advisable. Today it's slightly marginally, it's slightly down, but somehow one should take the profit and stay away. 7,000 would be the reasonable correction which I expect on this stock.
Okay, that's the view then. But I want to talk about a first source solution. The stock is up somewhere around 2% or thereabouts. The company has partnered with Microsoft OpenAI for digital transformation offerings. In the last 5 sessions, the stock was under some selling pressure, has been down 5% or thereabouts. Even on a monthly basis, the stock hasn't really been able to do well. But with today's move, do you see any bit of reversal, or do you think it's just news-based reaction that's coming in on the stock?
No, we are having a positive bias in the FSL. The weekly and the monthly structure is very strong positive. So 330 is the immediate resistance. So I believe once we see a trade above 330, the momentum will again start picking up on the higher side. And somewhere close to 380, 400 should be the directional view for the FSL. And I believe there will be a limited downside. This anywhere closer to 300, it will again find support. And this 300 and 330 would be the range. Above 330, there would be a confirmation. If somebody wants to take a fresh call close to 300, it's also advisable to take a fresh bias as the long-term charts are positive.
Okay, long-term charts are positive. But what about the BSE? The stock is up 20% in the last 2 sessions. Today also up 3%. Yesterday it was up 18%. Hit a fresh 52-week high as well today. How should one take some, money off the table here? Or do you think, is the chart looking overheated now? How would you approach?
Charts are overheated, but still, I believe whenever this kind of structure is there, it tends to move higher and higher. So maybe not the entire quantity, but definitely 50% part profit booking is advised at this price. The stock will continue to move higher. We can't exactly say how much, but then partial profit booking is what advised at this level.
Okay, partial profit booking on a BSC. Somebody has this stock, can perhaps, pay heed to what Brijesh is saying. But let's move on to another or next query. Abhishek Singha wants to know your thoughts on what is a good entry point for a stock like Varun Beverages for the long term. I think the stock has kind of seen very meager 4% kind of gains over the last 1 month or so. But of course, this stock is a multi-bagger. Since listing, it has given very good returns, but on a YTD basis, hasn't really been able to fire up so much, 25% gains. But it pales in comparison with some stocks that have given very good returns, like in excess of 70 or 80%. But given the fact that it's a quality business and it is still inching towards its 52-week highs, is there a case to enter at current levels, or do you think there could be some bit of dip that could come in, and perhaps that is when one should enter for the long term?
I think post split, the stock is now at 623. So this range from the technical level, I think maximum correction would be somewhere 600 or maybe 580 level. This could be the hello.
Yes, we can hear you, Brijesh. Please go ahead.
Yeah, so my understanding is that maximum correction would be somewhere close to 600 mark or maybe 580. It would be advised not to wait for those level, and we can buy at this price.
Okay, that's the view then. But we are getting quite a few queries on some of these jewelry stocks. Of course, today we have a new listing. PN Gadgil Jewellers will list at 10 a.m. But of course, gold prices have been hitting new highs, and that's been reflecting in stock prices as well. So one such stock that is in focus today is PC Jewellers, and we have a query on this particular stock coming in from Utsav Jain. He wants to know that he is holding the stock at 130 rupees. Wants to know a bullish target for the short term. Stock is at 152, so he is making some profit. But in terms of higher targets, what would you suggest?
PC, this is extended move. Same like it's if you purely from the charts point of view, we are in the overbought zone. I would advise to take some profits. I believe there will be cooling off in this particular stock, and the profit booking can drag it back to 120, 125 level. So it would be wise to take the profits, and if it's a trader, then definitely take a profit booking. to the investor, then he might do some partial profit and then stay long in the counter.
Okay, that's the view on PC Jeweller. Hope that answers your query. The next query is coming in from Binod Verghese. He wants to know your thoughts on a CDSL. The stock has done well, in the last 5 sessions. It is gaining somewhere around 6% or thereabouts, gaining traction now. Though on a monthly basis, the returns aren't all that, enthusing. But looking at the level right now, 1455 is where it's at. What is the kind of upside move you would envisage on this particular stock, and what should one do with it?
We are positive on CDSL. After the recent correction, the stock has taken support. In yesterday, there was the first day when it has picked up the volume. The volumes were pretty good in yesterday's session, and I believe this stock will go back to 1600, 1630 level. So view is positive. Somebody wants to take the trading bet for the 1600, 1650 bet can also take the call. And whoever is having already a position should stay long, as I believe 1600 will be seen soon.
Okay, that's the view on CDSL. Hope that answers your query. The next query is coming in from Prajay. Wants to know your thoughts on Spandana Spurti for 1 year. He holds 200 shares at the rate of 606 rupees per share. So it's pretty much, very close to his buying price. But the stock has been very sideways, hasn't been doing much in the last 1 month or so. Any advice that you have for him on this particular holding?
The view for the 1 year, it will be difficult because right now the stock is in downtrend and this break on all its major moving averages. The stock is trending now 650 is the trigger from the weekly point. So the technical confirmation will follow only when 650 is taken out on the higher side. That will be the first level of swing reversal. Right now, I believe there can be further little bit of damage can be there. There can be a chances that this might break 600. 550 is the level where I think there is a multiple support zone. So I think he needs to wait a little bit longer time. There is a fair little more chances that we might see 600 getting broken. So I think stay invested. It will take a good amount of time to see some reversals.
Okay, stay invested. That's the advice. Hope that answers your query. The next query is coming in from Adit Taneja. He wants to know your thoughts on GRSE. Now, most of these defense and shipbuilding names have come off quite a bit from their highs now. So, on the charts, how would you be looking at GRSE right now?
So I think all these counters have seen a very good correction, and right now the profit booking is what we can see in this particular stocks. This even the GRSE is also giving like it looks like there can be a further damage in this counter. I expected the stock to break 1700 in the near term. So it has to form a base. So it will see, I think one has to review the position when it comes to 1700 or maybe 1680, 1690 level. So this can be the early levels where we might find the support. But right now, I think there will be a further 50 points of out correction will be there in this counter.
Okay, that's the view. Hope that answers your query. Just a couple of more queries, before I wrap up this segment. I want to get in your thoughts on a Happiest Minds. Vignesh has written in. He holds Happiest Minds at 936 for the last 3 years. He wants to know, should he book losses or should he wait for some time for some kind of an up move? Are the charts suggesting any up move in the near term?
The value of the 50-day moving average is 833. So that is the immediate resistance for the stock. So technically, as a technical analyst, I would like to see the stock above 830, 835 level on a closing basis. So that will be the first level of confirmation. And this looks to be a pretty underperformer in the IT space. So it would be a slow mover. If he can hold for quite a long time, and whenever it comes to close 750 level, if averaging can be done, then that is suggested.
Okay, that's the view. Okay, the next query is coming in from Naveen on JSW Energy. The stock has been doing well over the last 1 month, but over the last 5 days, it has cooled off a bit, just about 1% higher. JSW Energy, very quickly, buy, sell or hold?
It is a hold. I think the momentum will stay positive. We should be seeing a further upside momentum.
All right. And the last query for the day coming in from Satvika on IRCTC. We know that railway stocks are also just about chugging along after the speedy moves that we had seen after we saw them speeding away to glory rather. But now, what should the strategy be? Should one book out and look at other stocks?
No, IRCTC has now come to the support zones. 950 is the level where there will be a small resistance will be there. I believe once 950 is taken out, then the stock can start performing on the higher side. It will slowly start to move on the positive zone, but then it is almost at the support zone. One should wait for this confirmation, and once 950 is taken out, technically 950 should be the revised stop loss, and one should stay invested in this.
Okay, Satvika, hope that answers your query. But with that, we've come to the end of the query segment. Brijesh, would like to thank you for taking out time and joining in as usual and helping us and helping our viewers as well navigate their stock related queries as well. But look forward to connecting with you sometime soon. Thanks a lot for joining in, and of course, have a great trading day. Well, on that note, let me bring on board our next guest for today. Joining me is Aishvarya Dadheech, who's the founder and CIO at Fident Asset Management. Aishvarya, great to connect with you. It's been a long time and a lot has happened since then. We've been consistently hitting record levels. 25,000 is there on the charts for everyone to see. We are now inching closer to 26,000 as well. But of course, there are some big events lined up. First one being tomorrow's Fed rate decision. What are your thoughts? Because some publications have, left a 50 basis point on the table as well. So this will be the first rate cut since 2020. We all know that. But would you place your bets on a 25 basis point, or would you be in that camp where there are very few who actually expect a 50 basis point rate cut?
Good morning, Nandita, and good morning, all the viewers. Thank you for having me on your show. Obviously, the D-Day is around the corner, and I haven't seen. Normally, Fed is known for giving the predictive outcomes, what they are going to do in the coming times, but there is big divergence, right? Almost, I would say, if we can split it around 50-50%, close to that, that someone expect that there would be a big cut of almost 50 bips, and then large section of the society, of the investors segments expect there will be 25 bips cut in the tomorrow's meet. What I understand around and what I expect them to do almost somewhere close to 25 bips, because you see, there are certain data points which has not really shown that US is going to see a hard landing. And if they go and hit a 50 bips cut in their first meet, probably it will send signals that US economy is actually in a very tough situation, and there is a higher probability of hitting a hard landing, which will possibly gives a lot of uncertainty and volatility to the market. So I believe Fed will actually play smart and give a 25 bips cut to start with, to see wait and watch mode, and then see how things will pan out. But if I look at we have these three meetings in this calendar year. And if you look at the Fed fund rate, there is a probability of almost more than 115 bips of cut. So market is really, really excited globally. And we will have to really watch and see what they will do. But I believe 25 is more or less given. I think that should be the way out to bring to lessen down the volatility in the market. Second most important thing is, if you look at the metal commodities, right? If you look at gold, if you look at other, even base and ferrous, non-ferrous both, the expectation of rate cut of 50 bips is given. If you look at this, the way metal commodities prices are moving, and the money moving to the emerging markets, Nandita, if you see in the month of August, both equity and debt almost have seen an inflow of $32 billion, out of which $1.8 billion was in equity and the remaining was in debt, which is a big sign that the money rotation is happening on expectation of sharp cut. So all the data are saying things differently. Rate cut is given, 25 bips more or less given, 50 bips is what the excitement is all about.
Right, 50 basis point is what the excitement is all about. But do you see a major knee jerk if it doesn't come by? Do you think 50 basis point is pretty much priced in, because we saw the Dow also clocking a record close yesterday, right? So in case a 50 basis point doesn't come by, as you also said that the Fed could actually give out a 25 basis point, which is what a section of the market is also envisaging, but they are getting excited because there are chances of a 50 basis point as well. But if that doesn't come by, do you think the rally that we've seen even back home could be at risk, and there could be some bit of correction kicking in?
Yeah, so if I really look at more than 25 bips or 50 bips, what is more important is what the dot plot looks like. What is the projections of the rate cut looks like for Fed. I think that will indicate where the market will go. And historically, we have seen, and which is we have learned over the years, that whenever the event has happened, probability of it being discounted is much, much higher. So once we see when we hit the wall and we see the Fed has started cutting rate, large part of that excitement is more or less gone. So I think this two factor will play out how the market will behave. But what is more important is that dot plot, the future expectation of cut. If Fed gives an indication of even 75 to 100 bips of this calendar year in three meeting, I believe market might see some volatility here and there, but it will, eventually remain in a safe zone, if I may use the word. Because what we have to understand here is that definitely there are sign of U.S. economy slowing. Whether you look at the employment data, whether you look today they will coming out with the retail data, so it will obviously help them in the recovery, and the burgeoning amount of debt is so big, that possibly there is a bigger catastrophic event which can play out. So it will definitely bring relief, but obviously small here and there, profit booking on account of the event has already happened, or if the outlook doesn't look very promising on rate cut, then possibly what you are expecting, and either that can play out because markets are all-time high level both in US and obviously in India also here. So profit booking can't be ruled out completely.
Okay, profit booking can't be ruled out, but want to talk about the big stock or the big event that took place yesterday. That was Bajaj Housing listing, and we saw the stock is already a multi-bagger upon listing. Yesterday, of course, it was it hit the upper limit, and today as well it's up 9%. But my question is, because of this bumper blockbuster listing, do you think the entire sector is in for a re-rating? And also, another part to this question is all those investors who didn't really, get allotment of the IPO. Do you think, it is wise to look at it now post-listing, given the fact that it is already a multi-bagger?
So Nandita, we are in interesting times. 100% listing gains has become a norm. Happening with such a large cap, I think it's the excitement market is running on them. I believe obviously they have done a phenomenal business. We are very, very positive on housing and BFCCS space. That's why in our fund, we have gone overweight in this category. That's the primary allocation for us in our banking and FSI space. And we believe this is one area where the government focus as well as the valuations both are there. Government is focusing on housing and at all strata, and valuations, at least compared to what other sectors and segments are, looks promising. For long term, specifically from Bajaj Housing, obviously they are the leader in the space, and we have seen the wealth creation happen with Bajaj Finance. Technology is in favor, growth is in favor. So obviously, if you have a very long term outlook, buying at these prices will definitely create some wealth. But what I want to bring to for investors is there are many other housing finance companies which are possibly growing at higher rate compared to Bajaj Finance, and possibly we will see those re-rating happening into those NBFCs where the market cap is around 10, 15, 20,000 crore, hitting 30 to 40,000 crore in a couple of years. That is where the excitement is. On valuation front, when many of these mid-sized housing finance companies are trading at 50-60% cheaper with relatively comparable or similar kind of financials. Obviously, the size makes all the different, but where the growth it will be more sacrosanct, and when the valuation reading, there is more on the table for the investors. So I believe there are plenty of opportunity in the housing finance space where when investors can put their hard-earned money to compound. If someone who want to relatively take a lesser risk, Bajaj Housing Finance is obviously an option, but there are other on the plethora which they can add and create alpha over there. But if we are very, very positive on this space, to be honest.
Okay, but what about banks now, private banks? The private banking pack has just about started to reverse its underperformance. But sector wise, there is an intense fight for deposits, and once the rate cycle turns back home as well, a lot of experts are saying that perhaps December would be the first rate cut for us as well. But if that happens, then margins which have not really been, which have been under pressure, could come under further pressure. So, in light of all these considerations, should one look at private banks, given their valuation comfort?
So Nandita, I think private banks and some particular NBFCs are the one which is providing value propositions where the valuations are still in sync with their earning growth, and they are, have that comfort on valuation parameters. But the excitement for investors for private banks has been missing. Even if you look at the FIs, they are not really excited about their allocations, incremental allocations to private banks, given the outlook for growth is muted, right? Possibly they at best will do mid-teens kind of a growth, where there are opportunities in other sectors and spaces where the growths are much higher. So in that case, when the excitement is not there, we have learned it hard way that that is where the money should be parked. So we believe good allocation of investors' money now should go and being put into these high quality private banks where we see a strong earning growth of 15-20%, where we have the valuation comfort on during times of drawdown, and given we will see that the kind of credit growth happening and at the best of the quality of NPA being reported, we believe at least 1.5 to 2 years of asset quality stability and decent credit growth will support the valuation rating for these private banks. Coming on the rate cut, we believe that the rate cut would not be very deep in India. When we saw the rate hike, I think India didn't participate much in the hike. So even on the way down, we don't expect too much happening on the rate cut. In this calendar year, maximum what can we see? There would be 25 bips cut from RBI. We saw almost 3.6 kind of inflation number, industrial activity numbers are pretty decent. So India is in a sweet spot. So I don't think RBI will try and move things around aggressively. And even if we see 25 to 50 bips of rate cut in the next 6 months, I think it will beneficially be more to NBFCs rather than private banks. So that is where a healthy allocation to high quality private banks, preferably housing finance companies or preferably your vehicle finance where they have higher exposure to CVs or even two wheelers, that kind of a portfolio could do well in the next 6 months given when we see a rate cut situation happening here. I think for in India, the rate cut situation will be more beneficial for debt-laden companies rather than on the banking as per se. So it will be more of a narrative than on substance on actual numbers in that space. Obviously, PSU can benefit on yield movement, but that large part has also been factored into the stock prices. So I believe private banks should be I would say, a place to hide the wealth that has been created over the last 2 3 years, and that could be remunerative for the next 2 3 years of a kind of a return we will see.
Okay. So last question really, Aishwarya, which is that one pocket that you feel could emerge as a dark horse going forward? Because we know that defensives have been doing well now, and focus has shifted from PSUs, given the fact that a lot of those defense names, railway names have come off quite a bit from their highs. So which is that one pocket do you think that will take the lead here on?
So when we look at the market and we look at the whole spectrum of sectors, what is exciting me now is chemicals and possibly leg one or leg two minus intermediary companies which are supporting to pharma. So we believe that the obviously the if you look at the last 3 years, it has been pretty difficult for chemical companies given the pricing pressure, given the destocking in China, and obviously the slow growth globally. But most of these things are now gradually recovering, where we are seeing that pricing are stabilizing. Valuation from 60, 70, 80, 100 time PE has gone to 25, 30 time PE forward. Majority of these companies have done reasonable capex in the last 2 3 years. They have strengthened their R&D. So and we are seeing that the commentary and the deal pipeline of majority of these companies is pretty strong. And in the last 2 3 years, we have not seen any dilution in the return ratios. So we believe that could be one area where we should see that money allocation should happen. Obviously, we have seen this act passed in US recently, where the China plus one game will get further boost to the whole thesis. So chemical is a space where we believe the value creation can be more, remunerative for the investors. Similarly, if you look at the intermediate players, the CDMOs and CRMs, players like that, is where we believe the money rotation will add to the investors' kitty. So those are the areas. Similarly, like we were positive on IT 6 7 months back, or pharma on 6 7 months back. That thing will possibly play out in chemical in the coming 2 to 3 years. In short term, possibly next 3 to 6 months, a scenario can remain more or less flattish, not much to happen around that number. But if you have a 2 year view, we believe definitely believe chemical can add alpha. And
Okay, chemical space looking interesting now. With that, Aishwarya, I'm afraid we are timed out on this show. But thanks a lot for taking our time and joining in. We had an interaction after a long time. But I wish to have a longer one with you sometime soon when you come back on the show and join us again.
thank you, Nandita. Thank you so much.
Well, thanks a lot then. Of course, we have come to the end of the show, but just want to see what the markets are doing at the current juncture. We are extremely flat for the index, just about managing to hold on to that 25,000, hold out below the 25,400 mark. Just hovering around that level, not really being able to get past it. The Sensex as well, very quiet, just about 82,990 is where it's at. Mid cap index, however, is in the red. The Bank Nifty is holding out, and of course, in terms of gainers on the index, SBI Life has turned around and come back into the green. But Britannia is the top Nifty gainer at the current juncture. Tata Motors, Eicher Motors continue to be under pressure. So auto names under pressure today, and aside of that, FMCG witnessing some bit of buying interest because HUL is also in the green as we speak. But with that, we've come to the end of the show. Thanks a lot for tuning in. Stay tuned to Money Control for all your other news and updates, and come back and join us on closing bell at 3:30 p.m. Have a good day.